Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. They mean the world to me, and I greatly appreciate them. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there's many different ways you can do so. First off, hitting the thumbs up sign if you enjoyed the reading is great. Leaving a question or comment on the reading is great. Or subscribing to the channel over on YouTube would be a huge help too. That way you can join us every day or whenever I go live. Just hit the notification bell and you'll be notified when I do go live. This is the daily forecast this is the weekly forecast for the collective. Every Sunday we do this. It's going to be for the dates of Sunday the 11th of April through the 17th, which would be Saturday of April. If you're seeing this on a date that's not falling between those dates, that's fine. It might mean that you're ready for the message that's in this reading, regardless of what date it is, right? I believe that these readings can be timeless and can be used at different times. So when they find their way to you, it's kind of like when you're supposed to see them. But for those of you that are my regular viewers, this is our new weekly that will be building upon this energy. This is a collective reading for all signs, so anybody can use it, anybody who watches it. It is a broad spectrum reading, so take what you need and leave the rest kind of thing. And also, if you're watching this on any platform other than YouTube, or if you're watching this on YouTube, please pull the pull-down menu and read the video description, just because it tells you a little bit about not only how to support the channel, but also how things to think about while watching any of my videos. Just things to keep in mind, okay? All right, so let's get into this. Each card will represent for a day or two of the week. This is kind of like the underpinning energy of what we should be expecting during the week, and then every day following this week, we will build upon these cards with new readings, right? Because things sort of layer. So I'll reference back to this reading throughout the week. But this gives us a little insight into kind of the broad spectrum of where this week may head or travel for some of us, or the majority of us, ideally. And obviously, with each person, it's going to manifest differently in your life. So some of you might be feeling these cards around a love situation. Some of you might be feeling these cards around a money situation. But you have to figure out where they best apply in your life. Okay, so let's see. What do the cards want us to know? So in the beginning of the week, we have the Empress. I'll take it. She is associated with the planet Venus, right? So definitely all about love. Some say also she could be associated with the sign of Taurus, which is connected to Venus. So definitely an earthbound kind of energy, in my opinion. Obviously she has this earth in her belly too, if you look at that. But the Empress to me is all about sort of nurturing creativity, divine feminine, owning our stuff, right? At a very profound and deep level. She is major arcana, so the beginning of this week should be highly, I want to say productive in a way, but it might just solely be creative, where we are taking time to put plans together. Last week, we ended on the Ace of Wands. So if there's some newfound desires that are going on with us, or newfound directions that we want to take, situations where we feel as though we might want to explore those things, the Empress is kind of like an ideal card to kick off the new week with, in my opinion, only because she'll help to sort of ground us, keep us solid, keep us focused, and keep us, in this state of nurturing whatever it is that we do need. She is the epitome of fertility, creative ideas, bringing things to life, hence why she has that sort of pregnancy belly going on. I love that the world is in there. Some of you could be looking at where we fit in our world, or how we want to fit in our world on, maybe even so far as a global scale. I've certainly been watching things like in the news and how things are happening on Facebook and stuff, and feeling a little bit sort of disconnected, to be honest. So maybe, I'm just using this as my own example. She could be connecting me back to my world and feeling sort of connected to my, fellow man in a way, and more understanding, more nurturing towards myself and them in the process, right? Versus feeling disconnected or or confused by people and their behaviors. And I'm talking about people on a grander scale, but that's just for me personally. Some of you also might be experiencing this energy. I feel like she brings us back to that state of Venus-based love, right? Where we can see the beauty in life. We can see what we're grateful for. We can almost expect more of that, create more of that, nurture more of that, and be very focused in that, very powerful in that. I don't necessarily associate her with heavy emotions or anything like that. She does look like she has that water at her back. So, and because she is feminine, she is going to be a little bit more intuitive and, I would say more on the nurturing or loving side versus, say, the emotional side. But if some of you are feeling emotional or feeling like you're seeking connection or looking for connection with others or those that you love, nurture that, build that, honor that voice, honor that sort of call inside of you, and find ways to do that. Just examples of that, volunteering or helping others are beautiful sort of Empress energies, right? Doing it from a place of sort of authority and kindness, but without any sort of ego. That's kind of how I feel the Empress manifests in our life. And she brings about new ideas, new opportunities, ultimately of her own making and of her own sort of nurturing, right? She does all the work to sort of bring them to life and care for them as they come along in our lives. So, whatever you're working on this week, utilize her energy to bring it about to fruition and reality in a very loving and kind sort of way. Now, in the midweek, we have, oh wow, so they're all showing up. We have the devil. We've been seeing the devil a lot lately. I don't know what that's about. This is a weird devil card too, because he's kind of strangely like mystical and hot and weird. But again, major arcana. So I'm going to say the first part and the mid part of this week will be significant. We may be facing things that we are challenged by. Certainly that would be the devil's representation. We would be facing things that we might feel stuck by, chained to. Some of us could be dealing with addictions, procrastination, frailties, failures, things that sort of tear down our self-esteem, where the Empress in the beginning of the week would build up that self-esteem. So if we get to maybe, like positive or not that there's such a thing as too positive, but if we're going along and then all of a sudden something sort of jumps in our path, unexpected, or something that we weren't necessarily looking at or had been avoiding, that would be this devil's energy. It could be something as simple as fear, self-centered fear, that gets in our way and stops us from wanting to move forward. The devil is associated with the sign of Capricorn, so it is also earth energy, which would kind of tie in. Hold on one second, please. Okay, sorry about that. The puppy was up to no good. I had to kennel him. So, the devil, I was just saying, the devil is Capricorn energy, right? Which does sort of tie into that Venus-Taurus connection, right? I would say this, big, profound lessons or understandings could be coming to us this week around not only like our material world, but also maybe our behavior, how we perceive things, where we fit in our world. I feel like this devil is here to sort of show us where we are getting in our own way, where we maybe limit ourselves, or where situations around us limit us, and we kind of settle into that fact and we don't challenge that or try and change that. And when I say challenge, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to fight against it, but we can always sort of undo ourselves from this devil card. The devil card always indicates like sort of where we're at our most vulnerable or weakest, and he like exacerbates that or capitalizes on that, right? Or at least that's my view of the devil card. It's sort of like the area that we don't want to see, the thing in the corner of the room that we're pretending doesn't exist, some part of our life where we may not want to look at it. We might be in fear of it even, right? We think like, oh, if I don't look at it, it may go away. But when I look at that Empress card in the beginning of the week, to me, it feels like she requires us to look at all aspects of everything that's going on to nurture ourselves through to this idea of creation. But then possibly the devil jumps up in the midweek to challenge us in our ability to continue on with said creation, right? Like was said, to me, the Empress is so like connected to the earth and about fertility and making things happen. The devil doesn't want us to get that far ahead, right? He doesn't want us to be successful. He wants us to sort of stay stuck, to be in our maybe lower vibrational motives or emotions. Or so some of you in the midweek could be dealing with, depressions or anxieties. I certainly if anything, the devil can show up for me in the form of anxiety or fear, worry. And I get caught up in it thinking that I'm doing the right thing by protecting myself from, harm's way, when in all actuality, I'm just sort of shielding myself off from taking risks or going after opportunities for fear of failure or even sometimes success. So that's kind of the devil in the midweek. And I think that because we've got two majors happening this week, we need to pay big attention to this week, because whatever came out of last week's Ace of Wands, this new idea or this new opportunity, this new path, this new desire, the Empress wants us to bring it to birth, right? She wants us to bring it to fruition. She wants us to nurture it, love it, ground it, and make it real. The devil may want us to get in our way, right? The devil could present as people outside of ourselves that are getting in our way, that maybe underestimate us or invalidate us or make us feel lower than we need to. But we need to be aware of those things and understand that they're there to challenge us, yes, but they're also there for us to overcome in some way, shape, or form. And so ultimately, I know that this sounds a little Pollyanna, but the devil is really a good card because he's going to show us where we're our weakest. He's going to challenge us in ways that makes us face and show up in a way that makes us stronger, ultimately, as long as we're willing to sort of face that fear. And then the last card, wow. So it's all three major arcana this week. It's the Fool. This is the beginning of the major arcana's journey, and the Fool is associated with the sign of Aquarius, right? So the Fool to me is about expansion. It's about, that would be the sign of Aquarius. Also, Aquarius can be a very sociable sign. So to me, I feel like there is a new dawn happening after this devil darkness that we might have to deal with. Whatever struggle we may have to go through, we will, we'll be challenged, and each one of you will be challenged in a different way through, maybe your own fear or your own emotions or the fears of others or their negative behaviors, whatever it may be for us. Don't be surprised if you find yourself struggling against something that might feel insurmountable or bigger than you would like. With the Empress at the beginning of the week and the Fool at the end of the week, ultimately it will be a good week, albeit with some challenges in the center of it. The Fool would indicate new journeys, new beginnings, being optimistic, opening your mind, opening your ideas to new possibilities. We have to sort of slay that devil in the center to be able to do so, right? The only thing with the Fool is we don't want to be so naive as so much so naive that we're not paying attention to what's going on around us. That's the only kind of warning that I feel comes with the Fool. With her here in this very card, she feels, yes, she's hanging close to that edge, but she also feels there's a certain amount of freedom there. Maybe in some ways, if we conquer whatever our devil situation may be, whatever's holding us back or challenging us, that freedom that we feel afterwards opens up not only new opportunities and new doors for us to pursue new things, but there might be an exuberance, an exhilaration, a relief that comes with this Fool card that allows us to look at our situation through different, more optimistic eyes. There may be those around us that say, you're being You're not being realistic enough, right? That could be the devil energy too in the midweek. They might even still say it towards the week's end with that Fool card there. But that's, their message. That's their information. That would be their path, not necessarily yours. So be open to new beginnings, be open to new challenges, and be open to the fact that you have the strength and the ability to, if not conquer them, be, at least by the time we get to the Fool's card, at least be sort of open and teachable enough to learn as you go, right? Because that is also the Fool's journey, is about being teachable and not vulnerable, but you know what I mean? Like open to the situations at hand, even if they feel foreign. We're not necessarily afraid. We are like kind of giving in to them in a way, and not in a bad way. We're like releasing ourselves to the journey and enjoying the journey as it happens versus being in fear. That devil energy in the center could be us trying to control too many things. And that control usually stems from a place of fear. And so if we're controlling from a space of fear, this Fool card says to me, release that, let it go. And just let the sort of universe, the world, your environment, new opportunities come to you as they do, and almost act more in the moment than you might otherwise normally, would, because there will be exciting new opportunities by week's end. Now let's look at the Lightworker Oracle and see what that has to say. I love it. Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ. He actually reminds me of that Fool, the way his arms are spread open like that. And I'm going to set him right next to that Devil card, just because. Balance some of that devil energy this week, right? So Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ, it's number 27, which would be a 9, right? Which would be about personal completions to me. 9s are all about sort of getting ready to come to terms with whatever's been going on with us, quite possibly in the midweek, and open ourselves up so that we can believe in ourselves and create new worlds, new opportunities, new ideas. That's this sort of city that we see beaming through his solar plexus and up into his heart, right? The Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ. It's connecting to the God of our own heart and the belief and the desire that's within there, and allowing that to be our guide, not that necessarily, like, say, the fear, the worry, the lack that the devil would represent. The Empress also, I will say this too, she's very rich in the things that she has access to. And so if we stay in that awareness as best we can, when that awareness starts to waver, if it does in the midweek via the devil, or, and the devil can, like I said, be other people's opinions of, are you sure you should be doing that right now? And even those opinions are well meant, right? They're not necessarily always what works best for us if we're trying to be in faith, if we're trying to believe in ourselves, if we're trying to move towards a goal or create something new in our lives. The Fool has that exuberance and that opportunity to sort of remain open and attempt to create that within like an abandon and a freedom that, I almost think society kind of can look down upon. And so don't let yourself be looked down upon. Allow yourself to be open, to be carried, to be optimistic, to, see what exactly is out there. You can still be wise or discerning with the energy of the Fool. Just make sure that it's discernment that you're working with and not a fear-based limitation that could be holding you back from, new opportunities. So let's read the Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ, number 27. You are elevating your vibration towards the frequency of limitless supply and unconditional love. That would be also that Fool's energy right there too. Spiritually, you are reaching for a high level of attainment. Past pain and self-defeating behaviors shall no longer have a place in your heart. That would be the Devil card in the midweek, guys. So wherever we get in our own way, and be gentle with yourself during that time. You know, look at these things, acknowledge them, don't fight against them. If they're things that you do, there's probably a viable reason as to why. Maybe you were, attempting in earnest to keep yourself safe, but that fear pervades everything. I do that to myself all the time through, my own anxieties. I think that, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? And it builds these sort of anxieties of what if that permeate and kind of, they don't serve me, but unfortunately they sneak in under the guise of like keeping everything safe and stable. And I'm not saying that we should be unstable. I'm just saying that maybe realizing that I'm already stable is the key here. At least for me personally, I'm just using it as an example for you guys to sort of figure out what I'm trying to say here. All right, so the invocation for this card is, I call on the unconditional love of the Christ in the form of Christ consciousness, the sacred, peaceful, kind, and generous nature of my own heart. Now, I'm just going to read that one more time. The sacred, peaceful, kind, and generous nature of my own heart. That to me is also Empress energy. Very much so. I open to receive an abundance of loving kindness from the universe in unlimited forms of blessing. Now, that would be the Fool's energy. I allow myself to give and receive freely. I believe that's the Fool energy and even the Empress energy. All that I want and need comes to me in accordance with the loving intelligence of divine timing. So there's trust and faith there, which the devil doesn't want us in, ultimately. I feel much gratitude in my heart for the loving blessings and grace of the universe. May the light and love of the true Christ bless the hearts of all living beings, bringing peace, joy, and divine love through my own free will, so be it. So I think that's a beautiful message. It's about like sort of faith, trust in our own heart, trust in our own ability, trust in our own sort of openness, and yes, there might be some midweek challenges with that devil, but ultimately that devil, like I said, he's there to educate us as to where we might be vulnerable, weak, or not quite believe in some of the things that we need to believe in to fully harness the beauty of this energy that we have this week. The grounding stone for the week is our happiness. We want to ground in that happiness. In the beginning of the week with that Empress, what is it that you could create, or what is it that you want to nurture? How would you go about nurturing that happiness within yourself first and foremost, placing yourself first? If the devil then tells you you're being, or people around you via the devil are telling you you're being selfish, or you're being this, you're being that, don't listen to them. Keep in pursuit of that happiness. Don't procrastinate. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of focus on that. That Fool card opens us up to the journey of that happiness by the end of the week. And we're really being guided by it, hopefully. And that happiness in that Christ consciousness, or what is this? Cosmic heart, cosmic Christ. Allowing that, and like, don't get caught up in the religious version of Christ, right? The idea and the concept of the Christ was this, compassionate, benevolent, empathic even man who brought the word of a higher spirituality to the world, right? Aside from all the religious dogma that goes with the Bible and all of that, ultimately he is essentially a man that lived from his heart. And so much more so than anybody during his time. And so he posed a threat. He was scary to people. And so when I look at this, it's like, not that we'll be scary to people, but I do feel like these cards have been telling us to kind of live from our own heart-centered, love-based truth. Even if that's just only being bestowed upon ourselves. If others find that threatening, that's not our problem. That's not our responsibility. That's for them to deal with. We can certainly move away from those situations and towards situations that serve us better and bring us more happiness versus, staying and fighting, resisting, and all of that sort of stuff that I would consider to be that kind of devil energy, because all of that stuff kind of chains us to that negativity, and we don't need that today, right? Or we certainly don't want that. This is about, to me, these cards feel like they're about really changing patterns, perceptions, and goals in a way that puts us first. And there's, again, nothing wrong with that. If we don't take care of ourselves first and foremost, there's no way that we can sort of assist and aid and take care of the collective in the process. So that is your forecast for this week. I hope this makes sense. Like I said, each and every one of you, you're going to find these energies at play around different scenarios in your life. Pursue the idea of staying heart-centered, open, and focused on your happiness, and all will be well, all will be fine. It will be significant, and change will come about. Allow it to come about and enjoy it as it does. Okay? That is your forecast. Thank you so much. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. You can join me here every day. Check out the monthly tarot scopes for April, even though we're almost halfway through April. And I have the playlists. You can go through them and check that stuff out. And leave me questions and comments, or for a private reading, message me at the Facebook business page. All right, take care. Bye-bye. And have a great day, you guys, and a great week. I think that you will. Don't let that devil put you off. And you know, some of you, I'll just caveat with this too. Some of you that may experience some of these cards and not all of them. So that devil does not necessarily have to show up in the middle of your week. But that devil can be, you know, something as simple as our own self-doubt creeping in and scaring us away from living more heart-centered and vulnerable, or or it could be the fear of us, if we actually grounded and pursued our happiness, what would that look like? And the fear of the failure around that could be the devil energy for us. All right, that is your forecast. I swear, I'm going to leave it there. Have a wonderful week, you guys. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, each and every one of you. And for all of you that hit that thumbs up button, it really helps. I greatly appreciate it. And take care. Bye-bye.